Here in part 4, let's talk about mutualisms. So what is a mutualism? A mutualism is a symbiotic relationship between two species. It is a symbiosis that benefits the fitness of both species. And it involves the trading of resources or services between two species. Resources might include nectar, pollen, carbohydrates, as we talked about in the angiosperm lecture. It could involve nutrients, as we talked about in the carbon cycle and nitrogen cycle lecture. Or it could involve housing, and we'll mention an example in this lecture. It could involve services that are traded, and many of these services we already talked about in the angiosperm lecture, such as protection against natural enemies, the transportation of gametes, that is pollination, or the transportation of offspring, that is seed dispersal. Each of these are examples of a mutualism in which both species benefit. One example I'd like to talk about here is a plus-plus interaction, a mutualism in lichens. It's a mutualistic interaction between a fungus and green algae or cyanobacteria. Not all lichens look the same. We have crustose, we have foliose, and we have these that look like puffballs. There are some interesting videos that you can watch on YouTube that focus on lichens, and I encourage you to take the time to look at these videos. Now, lichens are three different partners that come together. You might say, according to the old joke, it's an algae and a cyanobacteria that took a lichen to each other. Ha ha. But seriously, a lichen involves a photosynthetic component, which can be a green alga or it can be a cyanobacteria. So it can be a prokaryote or a eukaryote. The structural feature is a fungus. That fungus provides the structural integrity and the shape for that fungus. And now we've discovered that there's a third component, a skin component, which is a yeast, a single-cell fungi that's embedded in the cortex that produces chemicals that tend to ward off predators. So this is a symbiotic, mutualistic relationship. Another example of a mutualistic interaction is that between the Rhizobian bacteria that's able to take diatomic nitrogen and convert it into ammonia, and plants. Rhizobia are free-living organisms that can infect the roots of legumes, such as common bean and soybean. When they infect the nodule, when they infect the root hair begins to curl around, enclosing the bacteria, which then becomes a bacteroid, and we see the formation of nodules. Inside these nodules is the bacteroid, and in this symbiotic relationship, this mutualistic relationship, the plant provides the carbohydrates necessary for the bacteria growth and the energy for nitrogen fixation. The bacteria converts diatomic nitrogen into ammonia and provides that ammonia to the plant for growth.